Okay, hello and welcome everyone to the monthly ICC Digital Codes Premium webinar today on Thursday, June 15th. My name is Phil Anthony. I'm with ICC as the Digital Code Specialist. My contact information is on the screen right here. If anyone has questions after the webinar here, please feel free to reach out and ask me those questions so I can provide you with the answers. And I have started the recording here. We will share the recording afterwards with everyone that had registered. And the chat box is active here. Feel free to post questions in there during my presentation. I'll pause and stop occasionally to check there, but feel free to keep posting them as I'm speaking so that I can address them at that point in time or follow back up with them at the end of the session. All right, so today what we're going to do is our overview of the ICC Digital Codes Premium. And I'll go through just some information here at the beginning, and then I'll do a demonstration of some of the features and aspects of the software that we have in Digital Codes Premium. But just to let you know here, a couple of overview of the features that are in Digital Codes Premium. So I'm going to show you in a second here, but we do offer a free basic view for a lot of the digital codes like the I codes and the state amended codes on our website. The website is thecodes.iccsafe.org. But when you acquire a license and a subscription to a single title or group of titles, a collection, and it becomes the premium login, and this will open up the other features that you see here. We have about just closing in on 1,500 titles, including code standards, supplements, commentaries. We do have a free mobile app that's active when you do have a premium license. You're able to download up to 15 code titles at a time to be able to access those without any data connection as well. But probably the most used features when people upgrade to the premium licenses is the fact that they have the ability to highlight and make notes within the code sections. They're able to organize those notes and bookmark them, collaborate with others if they're using the licenses in concurrent shared groups so people can view each other's notes. The copy, paste, and print sections and subsections of the code. And then, of course, the advanced search functionality that allows you to search for terms across all the titles that you happen to have in your subscription. You notice there is at the bottom there, a 14-day free premium trial. It truly is free. There's no credit card needed to register. Just simply fill out the quick form there, establish your account, and you'll be able to access the Digital Codes Premium Complete Collection for those 2 weeks without any charge. So as I mentioned, when we use the word Digital Codes Premium, that's going to refer not to a level of number of titles in a license, but the actual features that are on the platform. So on Digital Codes Premium, you could acquire single titles. For example, IBC, International Building Code, would be an example of that. There is collections as well. The iCode collection would be an example of that. Next step up, we have state collections, for example, like California, Florida, New York. We have those amended codes there in a collection. And then finally, we have our Digital Codes Premium Complete, which contains complete titles of all of our iCode titles, and also, it goes up to the over 1,500 titles we'll have by the end of the summer, where we'll have standards and other types of content that we have added to it. In addition, beyond the complete collection, we continue to add more content from other standard development organizations. Some of those are shown here. Many of them we are able to add into the Digital Codes Premium Complete at no extra charge. There's some, as we keep bringing more on board the platform, where it would be a separate optional add-on license if you want to have those, but all of our codes and content come from the authorized source here. So if you're seeing, the ASHRAE standards in our platform on DCP, you can be assured that those are coming from ASTM and ASHRAE and all the different organizations that you see here. So you have that trust that is coming from the authoritative source, and everything will be correct. As mentioned, there is a various pricing structure for the individual titles based upon the number of titles, and the same with the collection set of titles as well too. The premium complete in the center there. We do offer actually 3 discounts. One is an ICC membership holder. They will have membership pricing applied to the Digital Codes premium licenses when they're logged in with that account. In addition, that includes discounts with other products that you would find in the ICC store. There is also a quantity discount. So the more licenses you buy at one time, the larger discount you get. And as you see, we try to put those price breaks pretty low, so it's easy to onboard with as many licenses that you may need, even if you even have a smaller organization or group and don't need a lot of licenses. You have the ability to acquire these, and also the licenses that you see the prices here for can be individual licenses that are dedicated to a specific user, or they can be placed into a shared group and you can share access among many users. The only limitation on that would be the number of your simultaneous users accessing that content in the group would be limited to the number of licenses that you have in that group. And then the final discount you see at the bottom, there's also a 3-year plan that you can get for the license. It comes in monthly, annually, a 3-year. You can combine all 3 of these discounts that I just spoke about to get the best price and be able to have a solution for your code research in your organization. I will also mention that we do have an enterprise platform as well. This is targeted for groups that either are onboarding a large number of people because it has extra administrative features, or if you need dedicated assigned seats for your users rather than sharing. So, the pricing on this would be the same. One enterprise seat would cost the same as one, Digital Codes premium license. Only difference would be is that these seats would be dedicated individuals and can't be shared, whereas the DCP licenses, you do have the ability to make either dedicated to a specific user or to share those in a group, as mentioned. I'll go through that a little bit here as we go through the rest of the demo. I'll pause for a second to see if anyone has posted in the chat as I switch over. And as mentioned, please feel free to continue to post those questions in there as well. All right. So as we start out here on the home page, this is where our digital codes reside. So it's different than the ICC Safe page. It is at codes.iccsafe.org. So as you can see, I'm not logged in yet. It's asking me to sign in. If I scroll down a little bit, here's where I mentioned the 14-day free trial. As mentioned, it really is free. That's all the fields you have. Create a password, your email account, and you'll get notification to confirm that, and you can be off and running with that right away. Also on the home page, it's similar to what you'll see when you do have a license as far as the way it's organized, but as mentioned, you do have the ability to access many of the code titles, especially the ICC titles in this read-only view, so to speak. So if I were to open up IBC, I can scroll through the table of contents on the left. I'm sure, if you've been to the site before, you've probably used this and understand that you'll see that this does allow you to scroll through and open up individual code sections. It does give you a preview of, these icons that you see here, of the extra features if you do have a premium license. But from here, yes, you are able to go through and scroll and be able to view any of the code content, both on the I-codes, and as mentioned, we do have many of the state amended codes that with the states that have contracted back with us to produce their codes. You can also view those without having a license or a subscription. So if I go back to the I-codes, let me just bring this up. And as you can see here, great thing about having all this content on a digital platform is now we have the ability to automatically add new cycles and titles and versions when they come in. So right now we're on 2021. iCodes for 2024 will start being released over the summer here, and as those are available, those will be dropped right in here. And as you can see, you have the ability to have the resources of previous code cycles available there as well if you need to look up previous code. So I'll open back up the IBC. I am still in that free basic view, but now I will log in. So logging in the upper right-hand corner with your established ICC account. If you already do have an ICC account, it is a single sign-on, so it can be used across all of our websites for a login. And you can see, main thing here is that Digital Codes logo in the upper left has now changed to Premium. So it has opened up because it shows I have a Premium Complete license as my personal license. And so now when I click on these icons here, I'm going to get this extra information and content. While I'm here, I guess let me just explain some of what these icons mean for specific code sections where you'll find these. We have, for example, the proposals that are under consideration for each of the cycles. So if you're following on that, you can be able to see what proposed changes may be coming up on those specific code sections. You'll be able to, it goes down to the subsection level too. For example, here, this would just show the proposals under consideration for that particular code section. And then this premium bonus material can be a couple different things. You'll see that there's a revision history here. There may be significant changes. And then as we were talking about the code development process, there's actually even hearing videos on each one of those proposed changes that you can view as they're being discussed during the code development process. All right, so scrolling back up to the top here, as you can see, it opens up in each chapter. You're able to scroll through each chapter. As mentioned, I can now have the ability to copy and paste this into, for example, an email communication or a Word document that you may be working on that you need that specific information for the code. So that is unlocked for the iCodes. And also, while we're here, this waffle on the side, we call this, opens up those premium icons as well too, where you can, the first two icons there allow you to create notes. I'll highlight just that part of the sentence. Both of these icons will open up the note creation box. The second one just bookmarks without highlighting, but I'm going to press the first one here so it retains my highlight. So within here, you can create any kind of custom comments that you would want. We have the ability to, it's strong text editor, so you can bold and strike through any types of comments that you're putting in there, bulleted list. You can even attach media to it. And then for organizational purposes, you can organize these by project tags. And these can be customized to however you want, whether it be a specific address or a commercial building or however you would like to organize them. Any ones that were created would be populated and able to pick from if they've been used in the past, or you can create new tags. And now when I save it, as you can see, right beneath the code section that I created it was able to take this information, and then you're able to, as mentioned, if you have your own dedicated license, this note is only you can view it. But if you're sharing licenses in a group, then this is an example of where you can collaborate. You can see who made the note. You can organize those project tags, and then anyone that is in that shared concurrent group would be able to view those notes that were made in there. This third icon is a share button. If you choose to use this email editor here, just to let you know, it will come from ICC support. So if your recipient's not expecting an email from them, you may just want to copy the URL. So what it does is it takes this exact URL, it's copied it to the clipboard. So, looking up in my browser, it's taking this exact URL, and then when you send that to the person and they click on it, it will take them exactly to this page, the one you're referencing, so they can see the code section that you're, discussing and any relevant code references or content, within that same section, they'll be able to scroll through. Now, they won't be able to copy paste, view your notes or anything like that, but that's just an example. If you have, residents or anyone from the public coming in, they don't have to stop in your desk and go to the copier and make a copy of one page. You can do this, straight through the email, and they can access the exact same information that you're explaining to them. Final icon is the print icon. So as mentioned, you're able to print sections and any subsections that are underneath it. You obviously can't print the entire book or chapter, but if I choose, this one does have subsection options underneath it. And what it's going to do is open this up in a nicely formatted page. As you can see there, the footer shows that it's coming from the authoritative source, the ICC, for this particular title. And you could send it to the printer right from here. Or if you wanted to, you could download it to your desktop, mark it up as a PDF. So for those of you that still feel you have a need to use PDF versions, it will allow you to download those to your desktop with the section and subsections underneath it. All right, so I've explained all those icons that are there. There's also a legend here that I'll go through on the page, but while I'm here, just may as well point this out. There will be text in different colors. The text in blue will show changes from the previous cycle of an international code. There are also red text in the state amendments. For example, in California, the California amendments that change from the I codes that they're based upon would be in a red font. And then there are some cities and counties that do contract back with us to produce their customized amendments, and those would be in that fuchsia text. You may see other icons as you're going through as well. If you see something you're not familiar with, you can check here to get that information. I went through these 4 icons that are at the upper right corner of every code section. And then we spoke briefly about the code development process icon, the premium materials. Errata kind of speaks for itself. And the ES reports, those would be at a code section that would have any of the products that have been evaluated by ICC evaluation services. Those would be displayed there in a PDF type format, so you could view any of the products that would be relating to that code section as well. All right, let me circle back to go back to the notes here. Every note that was created in a particular title that you're in, I'm in 2021 IBC, will also be shown here. It's the same place where the index was on the left-hand side. I just selected my notes. So these act as hyperlinks. If you wanted to jump to any one of these notes, you can do that. It goes right to it. If you get to a stage where you have hundreds or thousands of notes, you could go ahead and sort them by there and just show the ones that would be specific to a project tag that you want to view. So all these notes, like as mentioned, if you're in a shared group and someone else is coming into IBC, they'll be able to see any of the notes that were created here by any of the other people in the group. And then let me jump over to an administrative side of the notes and bookmarks. So I just open up the left-hand menu. I'm going to go to Premium Tools, and I'll go through all of these as I circle back around to just explain everything. But let me go ahead and open up my notes and bookmarks. So if you have your own individual dedicated license, just your notes will be in here. If you're in a shared group, every title that had a note created in it will be able to be seen here. For example, once again, here's where you could search for project tags across different titles and just filter them that way. Let me go down to my IBC, the 2021, that happens to have 7 notes in it. So once again, these do act as hyperlinks. You are able to jump right to those sections if you wanted to from here. But here's what's going to happen at the over the summer here for me. And when the 2024 International Building Code is released and dropped into my account, I'm going to be able to take all these notes that were created in 2021, and now I'm going to be able to move them into 2024. So if you move them, they would delete them in the source here. Many people, I think, might want to clone them. That will leave a copy here in 2021, and it will take every one of these notes and make a copy of them, clone them, and put them into my destination book, which would be 2024 IBC. And if the code section numbers or chapters have changed slightly, it is intelligent enough to know that, and it will put those into the proper spot. So instead of moving all your sticky notes each cycle, you're going to be able to just do that in one swift move using the software here. Let me next go over, I guess, explain these menu items here. Once you have your license, you're going to have access to that. The home button is just brings you back to this main page, which a lot of you probably might jump in from here. But let me just run through the rest of these menu items on the left-hand side just to explain them. My library, once you start saving titles or accessing them or making them favorites, might be where you would want to get started. You can always shrink or open that up. Basically, if I go through this real quick, it just kind of goes down the page, but this will show you how many titles that you have access to. There is like a home base to jump right to the search functionality. And then there's also where you can keep the favorites. I'm going to come back to favorites right here. But the onboarding videos, if you need a little bit of guidance there, I'm usually available. If you got a situation and need me to help you configure licenses, please contact me. But this gives you some good background on some of the different searching and the navigation that you can check through as well too. Quick Start Guide is just a searchable database if you got questions, and then the webinars and events as we started expanding that and doing more topics, those will be posted there as well too. So going to my favorites, we've adjusted this page based upon user feedback. As mentioned, we do listen to our customers, and we take any comments that you make here into improving how the user experience is. Since I'm on this page, on every page over to the right, there's this feedback form here. Please feel free to fill it out if you got a comment about how it is navigating, any new features, any new titles that we have that you have interest in that we may not have in there. You can always go ahead, and we do listen to that feedback. So as we're going through the titles and you start favoriting these, if I open this up here, any title that you're on the main page with, you are able to favorite or unfavorite with that heart right there. So when you are in your favorite sections, those will show up in the order that you have added them. But we also opened up a couple new views for this. You can view it in that carousel type or in the list. And I know as you add favorites, you might have favorite favorites, and this allows you to manage those and where they would appear. So if you wanted to move the California building code to be the one that's shown first, it allows you to organize that as well and really customize it. Going back down the rest of the menu items here, these are all the same options that are shown on the home page. We just try to give you a couple different ways to access that. Also, the favorites, if you click on there, those will be accessible right there on the left-hand navigation menu as well too. The premium tools, to be frank, most of these you can access from that library page. Once again, quick access to your title, the content search, which I'll dive into next here. My notes and bookmarks we covered. The My Project tags, here's where you could, if you are the administrator of the group, be able to change the name of these project tags or delete them. And then the sharing history, those that icon that showed you as you would share those with other people, it would keep track of that. And then the license configuration. Let me circle back on this and I'll explain how you can share licenses. I know people always have questions about it, but as the administrator, just what I wanted to point out, that any licenses that you acquire start out as personal licenses. For example, if you acquired 5 digital code premium completes, they would start out as 5 personal. If you wanted to assign them to a specific person for dedicated use, you would be able to take one out of that pool and do that. And here's where I was talking about the shared concurrent group. If you want to put a number of licenses into a group that can be shared, For example, this one has 2 licenses in it. Therefore, you could give this group name out to as many people as you want, but the limitation would be that only 2 people could be there in there simultaneously. So based upon the number of total licenses that you have in here. All right, search functionality, advanced search functionality. I'll point out a couple things here too. When you're on like the main page, this will do a global search of any items here. I'll mention if you're looking for specific titles, if I put that in there, if you select right here, if you just hit return, it will just take you for content results where that word SEOC would be used. If you're looking for specific title results with the word in it, then you can scroll down a little bit and it'll show you see all title results. So I just wanted to put that, point that out. Sometimes people are looking for words within a title rather than an actual piece of content. So I just wanted to show you that if you are starting from the front page, it allows you to search for those titles as well. I'll use the means of egress, usually use that as an example. As you could probably guess, there's going to be a lot of results. Looks like just over 33,000. But as mentioned, this is searching across my entire library of 1,400 titles. So if I started in a title and then use the search bar, it would narrow it just to that title. Sometimes that's all you want, but just to kind of give you an example how you could refine your results from a large search like this. If you go down the line, perhaps you want to just select, from California, you could use that anywhere that would appear in any of the California titles. I'll select iCodes, and that brings it down to 2,400. Now you could go into a specific cycle. And if I choose 18, then it narrows it down even more to that 642. You can go into individual titles if you wanted to. But then you can also do a search for figures, tables, equations. It really allows you to drill down. But I'll just use this as an example. This took those 642 results from the 2018, all the different iCodes. And if you just kind of want a high level view, this does that for you. It gives a brief description of that code section it's from. If I expand that out, I can see, okay, this one's from the IEBC, this one's from the IBC, IFC. So you can kind of get overview of what titles these are coming from, and then you could jump right to the exact code subsection, the top of the chapter, and it'll take you right there. And the original search is saved, just in case that you want to come back to it. It's kind of nice to open it up in a new tab. While I'm here, I'll show you this. If you notice that since I am in a title now, it's showing me search across 218 building codes. So if I were to just use that, it pre-selected all of these different iCodes just for that year, and brings back the 220 results for just in the within that title of IBC and the other amended codes. For example, you can see the different states that are based upon IBC as well too. All right, returning back to, let me clear that search. And there's also advanced term search functionality. So when you're on the search page here, if I open up this box, you're probably familiar with how you can search for terms with, exact phrase, all, any, or none of the words. You're probably familiar with how that works. This is a functionality that's not always in every search engine, but this is called a near-term search. So if I'm using that same example of egress, but I want to limit it to just the basement, what this does is it will search for those 2 terms where they occur within 50 words of each other. So you can, narrow those down and put those near-term search in there as well too. Just checking the chat button. I thought someone raised their hand. I'll circle back around and open up microphones at the end once we get through everything. But if you got questions here that you want to post, go right ahead and post them in there. All right, going back to the home page. And remind me, I'm going to end up with talking about how we can share the licenses here as well too. But just to quickly kind of explain each one of these different categories, these are where the I codes reside. As mentioned, you know, within the I codes, different standards are referenced. There are some standards that we will have in their entirety. Um, when you click on them within those code sections. There's other ones that may be an add-on. I guess let me give you a couple examples here. For example, the ASTM standards. These are a collection of all the standards that are referenced in the 2021 I codes. So there is 525. It's not all of ASTM standards ever published, but if they're referenced in the 2021 I codes, they are in here in their entirety. And this is kind of an example where ASTM has decided to make it where you can't copy and paste, but if you're referencing this ASTM standard, as you can see, it is there in its entirety. There are other standards. I can mention, for example, ASHRAE, due to their licensing, they don't include this in the Premium Complete, but if you need any of these titles, you can acquire a separate license for those specific ones, and those would also be then in your dashboard that you could use too as well. Going back to all of the other tabs here, the locations, as mentioned, if a state has contracted back with us to produce their local amended code, those will appear in its entirety. And most of them are going to have all those premium features as well too. If there's a state that hasn't worked with us to produce their code, for example, Hawaii is one of those. This will tell you that yeah, their last code adoption was the 218i codes, but for local amendments, they haven't contracted back with us to produce their code on the digital codes platform. They just host that on their website in that case. The other bar here to the right is the commentaries. This I'll mention is probably one of the main reasons why people go ahead and order complete. If they're already getting a collection or a single or a couple of other ones, but they do want the commentary, I'll guarantee you right now that it would be less expensive to acquire the Premium Complete, which includes the commentary, the I codes, the state codes, all these other ones that you're seeing as I'm going through my own Premium Complete subscription here. So that's just kind of a hint there. If that's what you are, if you are interested in the commentary, I think you're probably going to be into acquiring the digital codes complete license. What I will mention about this is the commentary. It's kind of cool feature that it is, as you see, code and commentary up here in the title. So if I'm going through these code sections here, and it opens up, the commentary sections are the ones with that diamond at the beginning of it. So if I wanted to, and once again, you have all these same features, copy, paste, make notes. I can hide the commentary, and now this IFC 2021 reads just like the actual code book and not the commentary. But if I want to then expand it out, then it's kind of cool. So if you're used to going through the code section without the commentary, you're able to do that, scroll through, and then just open up the commentary if you choose to have it open then there too. These other categories, just collections we mentioned. There's the Premium Complete, Energy Collection, which would have some of that. Are those ASHRAE titles in here? And then once again, as mentioned, like the California Collection, New York Collection as well too. Different publishers, some of these are included. Some of them would be an additional license if you're interested in those titles. And then we kind of group these into our topical groups, PMG group, structural design, energy, and fire. And then finally, the resources here. Probably the most ones of note here that people are interested in are that revision histories, the significant changes. And if you happen to have anyone in your organization that's studying for any of the exams, the flashcards and study companions are also in here as well too. So you do have the ability to use these for studying. Has the same features where you can make notes, copy, paste. links to the actual answers on the flashcards. After you see the answers, it'll link you right to that, and you can go to that specific code section. All right, just checking chat again. I don't see any questions posted. I will talk about how you can share license in a group now, and I'll probably wrap up within about 10 minutes here. So if you do have any questions you want me to address at the end, please go ahead and post them. All right, so as mentioned, you do have the ability to share these licenses. Let me just open up the store here real quick. We go into the shop. Yeah, when you're on the page that, the codes page, you are able to, link to the shop as you're going through there, and you see the different titles that are available. I'm just going to open it up here just to show you this calculator that's available. Now, I am not signed in, so this is not showing the discounted price. Discounted price for members is $7.92, so yeah, pretty expensive. Over almost almost $300 there. So if you are a member, it will save on those. There's the individual and 3-year choices. And then here's where I talked about the different pricing for the different number of licenses. So if you have people that need dedicated use, as mentioned, you can assign a specific license to them. They will never be blocked out because it's assigned specifically to them. If you have people that you want to put in a group that do want to collaborate with notes, but they need to be able to have their access always available, an option would be to, let's say that's 5 people, you could get 5 licenses, put those licenses into a group that can be shared, and only give that group information to those 5 people. Since those are the only ones those 5 are the only people that know how to get into the group, they wouldn't be denied access because someone else is using it. So to extend that example a little bit further, if you have a shared group and people aren't in the code the whole day, you could put those 5 licenses in a group and you could share it with as many people as you want. What I have been told with people just starting out for license for low to moderate use, ratio of 1 license for every 4 users has been working. If you have heavier users or you need, it's more important that people are not locked out because someone's using it, you can increase that number. But for example, let's take those 5 licenses. You've given the group name out to 20 people. And there's no limit on that. You could give it to 100 people, but obviously if you're doing that, then more people will be taking those seats. So just using an example, 5 licenses with 20 people, you've set up the concurrent group and they configure the premium licenses. And now you have this group name. We'll use the same one here. There's just one title in here. But the first time that someone would log into the group. And just to let you know, everyone has their own account. You're not sharing account information for 2 reasons: for security, and then also, as you notice, when people create notes, it knows what their name is. So when those are going to be in that shared group, everyone knows who created a specific note. So they'll log in, and since they don't have their own personal license, it won't say premium complete or anything like that there. It'll just say basic, but it will show that they're logged in with this email address for this account. Next step they do, here's a concurrent group code right here, but since they've never been into a group, that won't display yet. First step is to open up this concurrent access dialog box. They're going to have to put that group code in there that you've given to them the first time. And when they submit it, they will be in. But all subsequent times they log in, it's really convenient. It will show up. They won't have to go back to enter concurrent code again. It will show, hey, I've been to this concurrent group before. This is an option. I can just click right on it. So I click right on it. And as you can see, the name in the upper right-hand corner changed from, my account to the name of the shared group. So this shows that you are now in there and you have the access to all the titles that are in that group. This one happens to just be a single title. If it was complete, it would show as complete. But this is where everyone can go that has that shared group code. And while they are in there, they are taking up one of those, using that same example, one of those 5 seats. So if 5 people are in there, the 6th person will get a note stating that all available spots are being used. Please try again later. If someone is logged in and is inactive for 20 minutes, they will get automatically logged out. Just kind of a safety feature there, so they're not monopolizing a spot while they're at lunch or on a 3-day weekend. So it will, if they're not active within the platform, it'll kick them out after 20 minutes and open up that spot. When people are done, hopefully they're being responsible. They would just click back onto their own personal account. And as pointed out before, you can see the group name is not there anymore. That means one of those licenses that they were using is now available to use. And when they log in the next time, they'll have that concurrent code as an option as well too. All right, I believe I have covered just about all the main topics and features. Not seeing any questions here. So I will circle back around to the home page just to show you this. As mentioned before at the beginning, let me scroll down the home page and explain a few of these things. We do have that Revit add-in available and able to be used. We actually just were at the AIA conference in San Francisco last week, talking with a lot of great groups there. We're going to continue to add features there to make that more effective and useful and time-saving for that industry. As I scroll down here a little bit further, I did mention that you could download certain titles to use offline. So just kind of recap this. This is a web-based application. So the great thing about that is it's not attached to any single piece of hardware. You can access it anywhere you have access, to a web browser on any device. So you could come to this website on your laptop, your desktop, your phone, your iPad. That's usually the best experience. But if you have a license to Digital Codes Premium, you can also get this free app. And you can use the content through the app. You're probably familiar with slightly different looking screens, slightly smaller, but it still works. And the benefit of the app would be that if you're in a place with no internet connection, no Wi-Fi, no data, you have access to any titles that you downloaded while you were attached to the internet. We put the number at 15, just as the most you want to carry in that specific app at a time. You can always delete one title and add a different one. But if you're totally offline, you obviously won't have ability to have your access to your notes or create notes, but you still will be able to open up each of those code books, go through the index, go through the search, and be able to access any of the code sections. So definitely a benefit. No sense not to get it. It is free. Some people use it a lot. Other people just like to have it as a backup. All right, I did get one question come in asking about sharing notes on code sections. Do you need to be in a concurrent code group? No, you do not. So whatever type of license you have, if you have your own individual license, I guess that's the easy way of explaining it. Like the premium isn't a level of titles. Premium is the features that you have on this. So every premium title or premium collection that you have will have these waffles here. So in your question, if you're making your own notes, if you have your own license and you're not in a shared group, yeah, you can still make those. That'll show up in here. This is an example. These are the notes that I made. I'm not in my shared group. I'm in my personal. So you can have your own notes there. Maybe your question is leading to, for example, let's say if I go to one of my notes and you wanted to share a specific note, that's what this share button is here too. So what would happen here is it will take that, got too many windows open here with WebEx. It will take that specific note and you put in the email address there and you can put a own message in there. And if you send that to another DCP user, they'll receive an email saying, hey, Joe sent you a note, click here to view it. And it will allow them to view the note you created. And then we'll ask them, do you want to add this note to your license, your code section? So that, thanks for asking that question. Kind of reminded me what you could do with sharing those specific individual notes. And then just to wrap it up, if you are in a concurrent group, as I showed you before, any of those notes that you make while you're in that group will be viewed by anyone else who comes into that group. You can edit and delete your own notes, but you can't edit or delete anyone else's. You can just view all of them. Okay, going back to the home page, I think we are wrapping up right now. If there are any questions people would like to ask using the microphone, feel free to, I guess the best way maybe to raise the hand, or feel free to post any more questions in here. What I will do now is stop recording. I'll wrap this up here, but I will stay on for another 15 minutes or so. But I do want to thank everyone for attending. Learn a little bit more about our Digital Codes Premium and how this solution, this platform will allow your organization to access codes and standards that are always up to date, accurate, and can be accessed on your mobile devices, and allow you to share your custom notes and content with other team members. This going electronic version really takes us beyond the limitations of print and PDF that we've been using in the past. So